Well, hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to our Friday Biohack Lifestyle webinar. And we've done something similar to this, but we needed to do a deeper dive. So welcome, Dr. Chris. You want to let everyone know what we're up to today?
Yes, good morning, Dr. Tina, and good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Yes, we about a month ago we did a presentation on detoxification, how important it is, and the game has really changed with the toxins in our world today, the toxic burden that we experience. They're different today. One of the big ones is electromagnetic field radiation, and how it impacts the cell physiology. There's radioactive toxins that are man made, there's proteins that are man made that the body has to learn how to adjust to. We're over vaccinated now today. And even though they've taken the mercury out of the vaccines, now they've got them full of aluminum and latex and squalene, all these different toxins. So, our barriers have been compromised, the blood brain barrier, we have leaky gut. So we're going to help you today with understanding, the importance of detoxification. But first, you've got a pre-tox. And Dr. Tina, what do we mean by pre-tox?
Well, first of all, there's a problem with quick cleanses and detox diets because most of them are going to make you feel worse before you feel better. And this is because your body's detoxification pathways are clogged. They're not adequately prepared for a big flush of maybe moving out heavy metals or extracellular waste and other toxic chemicals. So we need to set up our body with a pre-tox. And it's a series of steps that come before you even begin to target your organs of elimination, whether it's your gut, your liver, gallbladder, kidneys. So a pre-tox is a natural science-based approach that helps us to remove waste and toxins at the cellular level before you embark on a very specific targeted detox protocol. Okay, so that's pre-tox, and we're going to talk about what you can do. And we've mentioned before, what is a detoxification? This is getting those toxins out of your body, right? They leave us very sluggish. And our body is designed to be able to deal with our environment. But as Dr. Chris was talking about, our modern life has changed our environment dramatically. We have the harmful toxins infiltrating our soil and food supply, our water, the air we breathe, not to mention, again, the side effects from over-the-counter and prescription medications, the EMFs. So we just get clogged, right? And our bodies also have detox organs, and they're designed to eliminate toxins and cellular waste naturally. But our bodies did not evolve to take on the modern burden of the chemicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis. So we need to look at detoxification regularly, but getting your body prepared, a pre-tox, is very important. How do we become toxic? We just covered all of those. The one thing that we didn't talk about were those emotions, traumas. Everything is energy, right? And even if we have an emotional trauma or unresolved issues from our childhood or relationships, we need to move all of this toxic burden out of us, right? We end up with this toxic load. Dr. Chris, anything to add before I hand it over to you on the next slide?
No, let's look at some of the pathways. Just all part of being human is we're supported through our systems that are designed to help with detoxification. So it's a natural process. We have an immune system with an innate and acquired, part of the immunity that we use to keep ourselves healthy. There's the liver, has two phases of detoxification. There's the gallbladder, there's the kidneys, the GI tract, is so important that, it really starts there with good digestion and elimination. The lymphatic system is key component to detoxification. The lungs, so, we've got solid waste through the bowel, we've got fluid waste through the kidneys, we've got gaseous waste through the lungs, and all of these systems work together. And of course, our largest organ that we talk about is the skin. And we have the pores that are essential to helping to, it's like the emergency exit system when the other systems get backed up. So it's all part of the detoxification. But when we don't do it properly and these systems get clogged up, then we get into accelerated aging. And here's some of those symptoms that we feel when we're not detoxing properly. We get the brain fog and headaches and flu-like symptoms and skin rashes, constipation, runny stools, the emotional sensitivities. We have that short fuse that because the physical body's overburdened, but it impacts the emotional body. And of course, some of the things to look for is just how do we see it? Strange dreams tell us that there's something going on the physical level. So, Dr. Tina, we'll get into more specifics on these, but I just wanted to share what happens when those detox pathways get blocked up and clogged.
Right. And we end up what we call, with constant exposure to toxins, it results in what we call an increased toxic load. And the toxic load is the total amount of toxic stressors in your body at one time. The more that you have, the more that you can feel these issues or these symptoms as you're trying to detoxify your body. And we want to make sure that you understand there's a difference between retracing, right? We talk about that where you're taking something like Tello유스 and you're feeling a little bit worse before you start to feel better. But when you go through a detoxification, you have to make sure all those pathways are open. You don't want to feel sick for a long time or feel worse because your pathways are congested. Okay, very important, very different. And so when we look at pre-toxing and preparing our body for detoxification, look at all of these areas: your hair care products, your lotions and body oils, the makeup for you ladies, the soaps that you're using, toothpaste and oral care. Get rid of that fluoride. We have enough of that that's pumped into our water system. Take a look at your household products, your clothing and your bedding. Laundry soap, laundry detergent. It's real interesting. A lot of people that end up with skin rashes, they love the scent of those dryer sheets and the laundry detergents. And when I ask them to remove those from their daily regime of cleaning, it's amazing how quickly the skin can clean up and clear out and get better. Your furniture outgasses, right? All furniture today is, unless you specifically purchase furniture that isn't covered with these chemicals, all those chemicals are going to end up on your skin, your clothes. You're going to breathe them in because they outgas. Dental, there's been a lot of review on dental and mercury. Food, we've talked about food, water, plastics, they're everywhere. And then the flu shots and vaccines. Our carpet, we have a lot of toxicity in our carpet. And then those electromagnetic frequencies. So these are all of the areas you want to take a look at, because once you start to go through a detoxification program, if you don't clean up some of these areas, you're going to end up just toxic all over again. You're not getting rid of the issue. So you're just putting, a Band-Aid.
I'm sorry to interrupt there. I just wanted to say that, this slide is so important to understand because we are bombarded from all these toxins in the areas you mentioned here. And because it's not a cultural or an economic priority, these things aren't going to change. So now we have to take responsibility for what our environment is doing to us and why we have this overload of toxins. And this is really important to understand these areas to initiate a pre-tox so that you can handle a detox. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah, and you don't want to go backwards and go back into keep this stuff around if you're going through a detoxification. Dr. Chris?
This next slide really is sharing with us late stages of symptoms that indicate detoxification is necessary, but it's really premature, and why we're emphasizing a pre-tox. Because when you start having constipation and digestive issues, when you see dark circles under your eyes, puffy skin, you've been on medications over long term. This creates great liver stress that will get into, the inability to lose weight because your body's lost its ability to make energy properly. The stress that we're under, the stress that we understand and the stress that's invisible that's happening, like the previous slide, that's part of our environment that we just take for granted. And then we have trouble with the lymphatic drainage. What's the lymphatic system? Well, that's the system that helps drain the nervous system, the brain, and the central nervous system, where you have the cerebral spinal fluid that cleanses and washes out the toxins from the brain. But this requires good sleep, and why we emphasize healthy, deep sleep. All these other symptoms like autoimmune conditions, headaches, fatigue, dizziness. Another slide to take a picture of and to take a look at, to do a self-evaluation, because this is telling you that you're too toxic to do detoxification, and why we emphasize a pre-tox before a detox. Dr. Tina.
Yes. And one of the things as a pre-tox on your checklist is to clean up your diet. Okay. So avoid processed foods and sugars and start becoming more restrictive with the foods that you are eating and making sure that you're eating those good organic vegetables and fruits, the grass-fed beef, organic meats, and wild-caught fish. That's going to be the staple. And when you're looking at eating, you want to eat in order of like eat your proteins first and then all of your good fiber, your good vegetables afterwards, because the protein takes longer to digest through the system, and the actual vegetables come behind it and help move it through. And you'll see that even your elimination will get better if you eat the heavier foods or the heavier meats first and then eat the vegetables afterwards. It's kind of like having a broom coming in and sweeping it up and taking it out. Get your microbiome in order with good probiotic and prebiotics. Now, Tello유스 powder has one of the best prebiotic foods that you can incorporate into your diet. And then you want to add in a good probiotic. And then drink plenty of pure filtered water every day. So these are just the staples. What should you eat? What should you do with your gut? And making sure that you're drinking enough water. And this is going to help, a lot of your detox pathways open up pretty quickly, by the way, by removing everything else and focusing on these areas. Dr. Chris?
Yeah, I just can't emphasize enough what you just said, that, you start here with your diet and just makes a huge, huge difference and gets you well underway for the pre-tox that we're talking about. So tune in next
Yes.
Friday. We'll be talking more about diet. So go for it.
All right, next, take a look at your home. You saw that big slide that had all of those different areas. Take a picture of this one too. And One thing that you can do is you can go to the environmental working groups database. They have a website, and what you'll be able to do is put in the name of any kind of lotion or, laundry soap or kind of body soap, anything, and see if it is a green check mark. In other words, you want to make sure that you're utilizing products and supporting companies that are providing us with clean, and I mean like chemically clean items for us to be able to use in our home, on our bodies, your toothpaste and oral care products. And you can start by just replacing your toothpaste, then go to your body lotions, hair care. Just take a checklist through your home and just see what you can do to remove some of these toxins. And then if you don't know if something's toxic, check out that website and you'll be able to get more information. One of the other things I think is important is that when you're looking at these additives, these chemicals and everything, they never do the studies with all of these chemicals combined together with all of these different products and how toxic they are and what kind of a burden that puts on our system. And it's up to us. We have to be our own health advocates and become conscious and aware of everything that's in our environment, because if we're not, we are just allowing ourselves to become, a toxic chemical pool.
Yeah, Dr. Tina, can you back up just one more sentence in there that I think is critical, or actually the last two, and is that the U.S., those of us that live here in the U.S. Really are compromised because of we're economically driven. And you can see that the countries that have their own healthcare systems for their citizens pay more attention to the toxins that are in their environment. So you see the Canadian government has banned over 600 different ingredients. The European Union has banned over 1,400. And believe me, there's thousands, not just 1,400. There's multiple thousands of toxins, and where the US has only banned about 30. So this is why we have to take responsibility. And I just wanted to emphasize that a little bit. So now we can go to the next slide.
Thank you.
The area that really starts out with elimination, and they call it the eliminative system for a good reason, because this is where we dump our waste. The liver is the internal detox organ, the main organ of detoxification. But what does the liver do? It neutralizes those toxins and then dumps it into the bile, and the bile dumps into the intestinal tract. And we have to have good regulation with our bowel movements. So this really is so important so that we don't recycle the waste that starts coming out of our system. So we see as health practitioners, so many individuals have problems with their intestinal tract, So the small intestine has small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, SIBO, and then the large intestine, of course, becomes a depository for toxins because we don't have regular elimination. And then this is an environment for all the microbes and the parasites that develop into the system. So here's how our system begins to get stressed. And then from the bowel, it goes to, the bladder and the lungs and the liver and the lymphatics and the skin. So you see this cascade of, toxification that builds up in the body and the organs that get stressed. And so it's so important to really go back and understand why our diet and elimination is where it all starts, and gives you a real good start on helping your health and well-being. Dr. Tina,
Yes.
This next one shows how a key component to good elimination is doing exercise, moving your body. because, exercise is muscle, but, it really activates our muscles. But we have to understand our muscles are an organ of longevity. Let me repeat that. It's an organ of longevity. So if you're looking for a long, healthy life, exercise is a key, because it was where we make our energy. The glucose in our diet goes to our muscles, and this is where we turn that glucose, as it builds up in the system, it turns into fat. These are the triglycerides that we see. So when we do our blood tests, we see the high triglycerides and the inability to handle insulin. So our fasting insulin increases, and all of a sudden we have a whole culture of obese individuals and diabetics. And this is where it all starts, because our ability to store fat in the muscle, we lose that ability to use that fat for energy, because we've gotten out of balance with our intake of our sugars and our fats, and we lose the ability to burn fat. And when you do that, you cause these complications. So exercise maintains that healthy energy production to use fats for energy. So it increases circulation, it moves the lymphatic fluid, which is a key component for detoxification. We promote perspiration, so the skin stays clean and healthy, and is maintained as a healthy detox organ. Our breath is deeper and stronger, so we detox through our lungs in a healthy way. Jumpstarts our kidneys. The regularity that we just talked about in stress is so important, that the exercise facilitates. And of course, it's just a natural way to just release stress and anxiety, right, Dr. Tina?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And here are some of the best exercises that you need to stick to when you're doing a pre-tox. Walking, even during a detoxification, walking, rebounding, and vibration plate therapies. What this, or machines, what that does is that really works on our lymphatics, getting our lymphatics moving. Yoga, qigong, tai chi. And then if you're already an avid exerciser, add in high intensity interval training into your pre-tox. That will start to really push things through the body as well. And people ask me, Dr. Chris, how do I know if I really need to do a detoxification? And for all of you out there, I would say, get tested, get a trusted physician, someone that can test you for heavy metals. You can check for genes that are detoxification genes. You might have issues with just natural detoxification if some of your genes are not functioning properly. You want to get tested for parasites and viruses, your inflammatory markers. What are your hormone levels? What's your immune function? All of those things can give you insights on, do you need to do some kind of a pre-tox before you do a detox? Okay, so just give it a physician that you can trust. And then some of the other things that, where do people ask me, where do I get started? What is, after I'm done with my pre-tox, what can I do as far as what are the most common types of cleanses? And you can work with a practitioner for a liver gallbladder cleanse. That is a very, very popular one. Parasite cleanses, along with viral cleanses, getting the heavy metals out of your system. Make sure though that you get tested and you see where you're at with all of those before you start jumping in and doing a full detoxification. Make sure you're also doing a pre-tox, getting your body, your environment ready before jumping in and doing a full detoxification. All right, Dr. Chris, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just one more thing to emphasize, that so much of this that we're sharing today is understanding self-responsibility, because we keep emphasizing how the conventional system is based on, symptoms. It's not based on the foundational issues that cause our accelerated aging and our poor health. So when you look at the rise of obesity and diabetes and heart disease and Alzheimer's, these are all symptoms of the inability to do this healthy, detoxification and cleansing. Let me give you a specific example. You hear about, oh, there's the rise of Alzheimer's and dementia, and there's this buildup of this amyloid plaque that is supposedly the diagnostic marker that determines whether you have Alzheimer's or not. Well, that's just a symptom, and very few people realize that amyloid plaque is there as a protective mechanism. It acts as an antibiotic, so it's there to protect you. It's not there to diagnose your Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is an energetic and an inflammatory disease. It's too little energy and too much inflammation. And you can just go down the pipeline here of what causes obesity and diabetes and heart disease. It's the lack of energy and too much inflammation. And this is what we're helping you understand, how you can deal with these issues so that you can really start getting your health back. So understand here pre-tox diet, and then you can do the detox and regain your health and vitality.